In this lecture, I learned that the Eucharist is a Christian tradition which commemorates Jesus' Last Supper, where he declared bread to be his body and wine to be his blood. There are varied perspectives on the Eucharist, which see the holy bread and wine relate to Jesus differently, but the importance of the Eucharist is universal. It is a tradition that represents the sacrifice Jesus made to save the world from sin, and is ecumenical in the way that all Christians celebrate it, from Protestants to Catholics. The traditional Christian view of the Eucharist is that it undergoes transubstantiation. This is a process in which the bread and wine become the body and blood of Jesus in substance, but maintain the form of food and drink. The bread tastes yeasty and the wine tastes like fermented fruit, but they both are Jesus in substance. The word for the sensory experience of the bread and wine in the Eucharist is the accident. So the substance is what it truly is, Jesus' body and blood, and the accident is what it looks like, tastes like, and feels like, bread and wine. Another, more modern take on the Eucharist is transsignification, which Edward Schillebeeckx developed. Father Warren insisted that transsignification is not heretical, though it may seem that way, as Schillebeeckx claims that the Eucharist changes only in meaning for communion. The intent and importance of the bread and wine has moved from human sustenance to religious satiation, but the substance and accident are both bread and wine. The third view from Lecture 2.3 is consubstantiation, which means the Eucharist is bread, wine, body, and blood simultaneously, and they all exist together. One question I have about this lecture is why the Eucharist is such a unifying tradition to this day. I have no qualms with communion, but with all of the diverging ideas and groups within Christianity, how is the Eucharist able to keep such an important role within all the branches? My best guess is that it's related to it being an act of the Last Supper before Jesus died, but I wonder why no branches picked up anything as significant as the Eucharist and the Last Supper after the resurrection. One question I have for my classmates is, do you think that Edward Schillebeeckx is being heretical by suggesting that the meaning and significance of the Eucharist is all that changes? To reiterate, Reverend Warren said Schillebeeckx was not being a heretic, but he developed the concept of transsignification well after the Bible was written, and it is clear that rewriting the Bible is a sin. On one hand, transsignification is more like an interpretation of the Eucharist, but something of this nature cannot really be interpreted. It either is or is not. I think he is not in danger of heresy, but I think there is also an argument that could be made. Thank you.